Our regulars will be aware that we have established that Mercedes F1 and their parent company have long wanted to part ways with Sir Lewis because they felt his success overshadowed their car and threatened their idol Michael Schumacher's legacy. That's why they nobbled him in favor of his teammate in 2016 and threw a freak-off party in 2021 to celebrate dropping the appeal to the theft of his 8th title, which would have given him one more than Michael. But here's the thing, not even the almighty Mercedes is immune from the old Bavarian saying,
Seien Sie vorsichtig, was Sie sich wünschen.
Which means, be careful what you wish for. Well, last year, Mercedes F1 and their parent company finally got their wish, and now we can see why they should have been careful about it. Because they and their parent company may not survive for much longer after realizing their wish. Yes, you heard that right. Since 2021, Mercedes F1 have been steadily slipping down the paddock, and last year was their worst ever season. For the first time since their return to F1, they have been downgraded to a middle-rank team with no expectation of contesting for the title. They have no world champion driver, and they are losing sponsors and sponsorship revenue faster than Doris can slip down a starting grid. However, it's not all bad news for Mercedes F1, its parent company is inundated with life-threatening bad news as well. But before going into more detail, we would like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. Back in 2016, when Mercedes were looking to end Sir Lewis's title run, they were the best-selling premium brand in multiple countries including the USA, Germany, and China. However, the year after they stabbed him in the back, their global sales fell by 1%, amidst rumors that they might pull out of F1 because of how badly their car was performing. But by the time they pushed him out in 2024, which turned out to be an annus horribilis for both parent and child, they were struggling to batten down the hatches. They were experiencing a tsunami of bad indices, including declining sales, market share, profit, and market value. Share price fell by 15%, and profit by a shocking 54%. There was a 4.3% decline in sales compared to 2023, and in some sectors, sales fell by an astronomical 57%. Things were so bad that Mercedes launched a program to cut costs by 20%, resulting in growing speculation that many dealers may go out of business. In the eye of the tsunami buffeting the parent company, Mercedes F1 appeared to be posting strong figures despite the Red Bull dominance. To recall, in 2023, Mercedes became the first F1 team to surpass £500 million in turnover. In the annual report, Toto Wolff bragged about all the good indices that the team was showing, like welcoming 7 new sponsors and increasing social media followers and engagement. In that year, they finished second in the constructors' table, and despite their much-touted claim that Sir Lewis struggles to cope with the ground effect cars, he finished third ahead of the team's tire-whispering king of the ground effect cars, George, in 8th. Notably, they didn't win any races, finished just 3 points ahead of Ferrari, but with less than half the points accumulated by the doped-up Red Bull, who won all but one race that season. It is important to remember that this was the picture at the time Sir Lewis made the decision to switch to Ferrari. Critically, the 2024 season ended with Ferrari a close second, after running McLaren to the finish line. They fell short by 14 points, but 184 ahead of Mercedes, who finished a distant 4th. Nevertheless, there are those who questioned the wisdom of the move when it was announced at the start of the season, and many still question it today. Guess there is no cure for LHDS. Well, now that the LHDS-afflicted Germans finally got rid of the goat, it is possible to see the impact on the new and former teams, as we are reminded of the old Bavarian saying, "You don't know what you've got until it's gone," or is it?
Schadenfreude.
Now, to be fair to Mercedes, the autocar industry is, and was being buffeted across the board, even though they may have been getting it worse than others. Also, the performance of the F1 team, which was the silver lining in the dark cloud raining cats and dogs down on the parent, could be down to Toto's excellent management skills, and the indomitable team spirit that yielded 8 consecutive titles. Well, thanks to Mercedes ridding themselves of their troublesome Negro, we can now clearly see what's what. We have already done several videos showing how at the time the transfer was announced, Ferrari's market capitalization went through the roof, from $62 to $70 billion, and has continued to climb despite the buffeting winds. By mid-season it was $74.37 billion, and at the beginning of this year it was $74.78 billion, an increase of some 19% over the previous year. Mercedes' market capitalization, on the other hand, rose briefly from $73.97 billion at the time of the announcement, because of other factors, but started to decline rapidly to the point that by the middle of the season, it was $73.28 billion as Ferrari overtook them, and the gap has continued to widen till today, as Mercedes has fallen to an astonishing $53.71 billion. A drop of over 25% in just 1 year. Now, who will tell Mercedes that the boost that Ferrari got from signing Sir Lewis represents a loss to them? Perhaps, just perhaps, their losses could have been mitigated somewhat if they had better utilized the Hamilton goodwill that was boosting Ferrari, and not adopted a policy of disregarding or hiding his light under a bushel. Even if they considered the GOAT a troublesome asset, perhaps, just perhaps, it would have been better to have kept him than allow him to go to their nearest competitor. Had Mercedes not dropped the ball on Sir Lewis, Ferrari would not be enjoying the boost they are experiencing at present. Every football manager knows that you don't allow your asset to go off to your nearest rival. Didn't Pep tell Toto this during any of their discussions? Or maybe, just maybe, Mercedes were so far down the rabbit hole of ridding themselves of Sir Lewis that they couldn't see, or wouldn't acknowledge, any of the risks associated with not locking him down to a multi-year contract. What is clear is that despite the challenging climate for the industry as a whole, Ferrari have been boosted by just the news of signing the GOAT alone, while Mercedes, from whence he departed, appear to be going into a life-threatening freefall, without any mitigating factors on the horizon. How long will it take Mercedes, the parent company, to arrest the freefall, if at all? If only Toto had been able to persuade Crashtappen to jump ship because of the astronomical fees on offer, one would have loved to see how that went down with the 20% cost-cutting program of the parent company. Forza Ferrari.